What's up guys, I'm Kel, Red Zone Rogue, and welcome to another Foresight strategy video. Keep in mind that these strategy videos are not specific deck techs, but instead have the intent of inspiring you guys to go out and make your own dank builds. But in case you don't care about any of that crap, there is a deck list in the description down below. So today's ruler is obviously Shaela. She's really cool. This is kind of like an updated version of that Charlotte tempo deck that I had a little while back. Sort of. It's a mono blue tempo deck. Here's like a good glimpse of it right here, all sleeved up and ready to play, and we will delve into the cards individually in just a second. But I'd like to say that this deck's pretty fun. It's kind of like a Mermaid-ish tribal deck. I wish they had better cards for the Mermaid tribal synergy and whatnot. Hopefully in the future they will. I've already seen a couple of the cards spoiled in the next set, and there's not really some Mermaid synergy, but there's some cards that could go in this deck. So without further ado, let's talk about good old Shaela. So Shaela as the J ruler she's okay. She has a judgment of 2 water and 1 of any. She's a ruler mermaid, and her other side is a mermaid. That's actually kind of relevant. She has energize of 1 water. The weather is rain during your turn, which is also kind of relevant. She has a rest ability where you can search your deck for a card named Water Change Rain and put it in your hand. You have to reveal it and put it in your hand, but put it in your hand. And she's got some wingdings with this umbrella, which is probably that Aquasol or whatever. We have no idea what the fuck that does yet. And then her J ruler side is, Shaela, the Mermaid Princess. Yeah, that's what it's called. 1,000, 1,200. She's got a big butt. J ruler Mermaid. She looks really cool. It says the weather is rain. Just so all the time the weather is rain. And when this card enters the field, draw a card. And then she also has wingdings. We don't know what the wingdings do yet. So, like I said, as a J ruler, she's fine. She basically lets the weather be rain, and you can rest her to search your deck for a weather change rain. She is a mermaid, so that's actually pretty important for some of the cards in the deck, but she definitely needs some better support in the future. This is kind of like, it's not a really big tournament viable deck, I would say. It's a really fun deck to play with your friends at the kitchen table or at locals or whatever. Something you can do to upgrade your Shaela deck out of the box. There's like I said, it's mono blue, so you don't have to buy a whole lot of dual stones or anything like that. So next up we have the magic stones of the deck. This is the Shoal Coral Stone, and this is a pretty obvious inclusion for Shaela. You treat this card as a water magic stone. You can rest it to produce a water, and you can banish it to make the weather rain until end of turn. And we run, the full play set of these. Pretty standard, comes in the starter deck, probably not surprised here. And continuing with the tradition of not being surprised, I run just 6 basic water magic stones. That's it. Just water magic stones and the Shoal Coral Stone. Pretty basic will base. It's not expensive. It's, pretty good for beginning players and such. And I really like these full art Alice water stones. So I love being able to actually use them. So next up we have the Resonators of the deck. We're going to start it off with the Angelic Voice Mermaid. This is a card that comes in the starter deck. It's a really good card. When this card enters the field, you draw a card if the weather is rain. And since the weather is always rain during your turn, you always draw a card. 300 for 1, comes into play, draw a card. That's a pretty good card. Like I said, this deck is kind of like a tempo deck, sort of. And what you want to do is you want to draw some cards, and you want to remove your opponent's Resonators while sticking some, something to the boards that you can attack with. And that's kind of what this card helps you do. Kind of just helps you filter through the deck, draws, immediately replaces itself so you can, top deck a removal or something like that. And it's a mermaid, so yeah, pretty good card for the deck. Next up, I run 3 of Shaela's Elite. I should probably run 4, but I honestly don't own 4. Out of the 3 boxes that I bought of Ancient Knights, I only got 1 Shaela's Elite in each box. But anyway, she's a 600 for 2 water. It is a mermaid. It says, when this card enters the field, search your deck for a mermaid not named Shaela's Elite, reveal it and put it in your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So yeah, you can just basically search up any other mermaid. And if you want to draw another card, you can fetch the other one. So yeah, pretty good card. 600 for 2. Pretty good, and you can search up another mermaid, and we have some mermaids that kind of like act as finishers, and one of them that kind of acts as a removal. So yeah. So next up I have the only non-mermaid in the entire deck, Tomoe Gozen, Merciful Aqua Twin Swords. This card is just an incredibly powerful tempo card. So what it is, it's a 500 for 1 water and 1 of any. It has an awakening of a blue and then another awakening of a blue. And it says when this card enters your field, return target Resonator to its owner's hand if you pay the awakening. And you can do that twice. So for, just a blue and 1 of any, just a 500. For 2 blue and 1 of any, you can return a Resonator to its owner's hand. And for 3 blue and 1 of any, you can bounce 2 Resonators to their owner's hand, and you get this. So this is a pretty powerful you know, tempo card. You get kind of like 2 for 1 when it comes into play. Bounce 2 of your opponent's dudes. It's pretty sweet. I like this card a lot. Probably the hardest card to get in the entire deck just because it's from Vingolf 3, but yeah, I really like it. There's other options, but this is the card that I chose because I think it's really cool. So next up, I run a full playset of the Aqua Rifle Mermaid. This is very close to Tomoe Gozen, except this one is a mermaid and has better stats. And you can bounce 1 less guy, and it always costs 3. So it's a little different, but it's also kind of same. So it's a 700 for 2 water and 1 of any. There are 2 different artworks for this card, one of them from the starter deck right here, and then one of them that comes in Ancient Knights. I put 2 of each because I'm weird. And when this card enters the field, rest target Resonator. If the weather is rain, return it to its owner's hand instead. And the weather is always going to be rain on your turn because we're playing with Shaela, so you're always going to bounce a Resonator to its owner's hand. 700 for 3 that bounces a dude. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. So yeah, this card's a pretty good inclusion in the deck. And the last mermaid I run in the deck is the Wave Rider Mermaid. This is the big finisher of the deck. This is just one of the starter deck cards, so you know, it's a pretty easy to access card, and it's actually quite powerful. It's a 1000 Mermaid Resonator for 1 and then 3 blue, so it's a 4-drop. And it says this card gains +200 and flying as long as the weather is rain. So on your turn, it's a 1200 flying. That's pretty good stat line for 4 mana, or for 4 will. And you can pay 2 water and rest a Resonator. Play this ability only if the weather is rain. So this is kind of like the one of the only 2 big weather is rain matters cards in the whole deck. We have one way to make the weather is rain on your opponent's turn other than the J Ruler, and it's an okay card. But this is a good finisher for the deck. This is the last of the Resonators. Like I said, it's about half of the deck is Resonators, maybe a little bit less than that. We just need more good Mermaid Resonators to make this deck like bump it up like a tier or something. But this is a pretty good start. Also, she's really cute, so that helps too, I guess. So next up we have our Chants. This is the Weather Change Rain, and I only run 2. Why? Because we only have a couple cards that actually care about the weather being rain on your opponent's turn, and it takes up a slot in your deck, and other than that, it doesn't really do anything. It does replace itself. It's just a quick cast chant for 1 water. It says you may, the weather is rain until end of turn, draw a card. That's it. You know, I include one of each of the arts. This one, the full art one, is really sweet. And yeah, basically I just included this because you kind of have to with Shaela, because you can rest her to search it up if you really need it. And other than that, yeah, that's that. Not much else to say. And next up we have one of my favorite cards from Ancient Knights. We have the Spinning Aquasol. It's a quick cast chant for 1 water, and it says put target chant from your graveyard into your hand. And this is a really good way of recurring your powerful chants in the deck. We have some pretty powerful chants, and if you can just keep recurring them, it's really cool. You might be right to run 4 of these, but I'm currently like testing out the balance of a lot of the cards in the deck. And it was really hard actually fitting all the stuff that I wanted without like going over 40. But yeah, Spinning Aquasol is definitely a solid inclusion. And next up I run a 3 of Seabed Investigation. Once again, this might be better to run 4, but like I said, still testing out the balance of a lot of the cards in the deck. This is a pretty good draw spell, and in the games that I've played, I've actually felt that I've had too many cards in my hand a lot of the time, but you know, you'll have to test it out for yourself and see if you're either card starved or you have way too many cards in your hand. And in which case, you know, if you have too many cards, then you can always cut this one. But it is a really good draw spell. For 2 blue, it's just a chant. You can look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You can put a card from among them into your hand and the rest on the bottom. If you control a mermaid, and you will always control a mermaid because you are playing with Shaela, because she is a mermaid, then you can put 2 cards from your hand, 2 cards into your hand, and then the rest on the bottom in any order. So that's really sweet. You gotta look at cards, you gotta pick 2 of them, like the 2 best cards, and then put the rest on the bottom. This is a really cool, good draw spell. Yeah, not much else to say. It's just an incredibly good card, and it's only really that good in Mermaid. So this is one of the good Mermaid support cards. Next up I run a 3 of Shayla's Foresight. Once again, this probably should have a full playset. The reason I don't have a full playset of this one is because I don't own a full playset. Once again, I only got 1 of each of these in my Ancient Knights boxes. I should probably buy another one. But anyway, this is a quick cast chant for 2 water. It says, choose 1. If your J Ruler is Shaela or Shaela the Mermaid Princess, choose up to 3 instead. Here, let's just get a good center on this. There's a lot of text on this card. So our J Ruler is Shaela, obviously, so we get to choose up to 3. It says put target attacking Resonator on top of its owner's deck. That is incredibly good. Or put target addition on top of its owner's deck. If you can do both of those, that is insane. You just kill 2 of your opponent's draw steps. That's incredibly good. Or target player shuffles all Magic Stones from their graveyard into their Magic Stone deck and then shuffles all other cards from their graveyard into their deck, or draw a card. I think the most common of this is going to be put the attacking Resonator on top of the owner's deck and then draw a card. And if they have an addition, you can put the attacking Resonator and the addition, and you get a draw card. Really, really sweet. If the game's long and grindy, you can always shuffle stuff back in your deck, or if they're playing a Reanimator strategy, you can shuffle your opponent's stuff back in their deck. Yeah, this is a fantastic card. One of the best support cards that Shaela has. Next up, I run a full play set of Cleansing Rain. As you can see, there's 2 different arts, one from Ancient Knights and one from the starter deck. Ancient Knights, starter deck. And this is kind of like your bread and butter tempo bounce removal type spell for the deck. It's a quick cast chant for 1 of any and 1 blue, and it says, return target Resonator to its owner's hand. If the weather is rain, put it on top of its owner's deck instead. So this is the other card that cares about the weather being rain on your opponent's turn, and you can just do it on your turn too. You can just like put it on top of your deck. Now you have to draw it again. That's so good. Like sometimes that is completely backbreaking. You can bounce 2 of their guys to their hand with like Tomoe Gozen, and then play this, or like bounce a dude and then play this, or just play this, put on top of their deck. Like it's so good. Like not only does it remove their guy, they have to draw it the next turn. And if they really need like a good answer, and they have to draw the dude that they already have in play, it's incredibly backbreaking. So yeah, I really like this card a lot for this deck. This is pretty strong 4 of, I think. And next up we have one of my favorite cards of the deck, and one of the best Mermaid like support cards there is right now. So this is a chant that costs 4 blue or 4 water. Play this only if you control 2 or more mermaids. So you need to control Shaela. Obviously, you always have Shaela, plus 1 other mermaid. And it says, gain control of target Resonator. Period. Not until end of turn, you just get it. Forever. And this is not an addition, it's a chant. So there's no way for them to get it back, unless they have another spell like this to steal it back, or they have to kill it or something. This card is awesome. I'm only running 3 in the deck, because 4 is kind of a high cost, but you can always get it back with the spinning Aquasol. Like I said, it might be good to run 4 of these, but only time will tell. In any case, this is a very, very good card for the deck. And finally, I run a 3 of Magical Tidal Surge, and this is the card that I'm most iffy about in the deck. So let's go over it real quick. It is a chant for 2 of any and 3 water. It says, return all non-water Resonators to their owner's hands. That's it. So if your opponent is playing any other color, you just return all their stuff to their hands and you can smash for the win. This is like the big finisher of the deck, especially when combined with the Wave Rider Mermaid, or the Aqua Raid Mermaid. This is a 1200 one. So yeah, very powerful card. I don't know if running a 3 of is the right call, especially like since it's so iffy. If they're playing water, then it could be tough, but honestly not a lot of people are playing water right now. And it's 5-drop, which is also a little tough. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think about this card in the deck. It's a really powerful card. It's obviously powerful. It's just whether or not you're going to die before you can even play it, or whether or not you can stabilize the board and bounce stuff before you can play it. So far, it's been good for me, but it might be right to only run 2, especially with all the draw we have in the deck. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool card no matter what. Well, there you guys go. That is my Shaela deck. This is like a Shaela mono water tempo deck that you can upgrade your starting deck with. Yeah, I like this deck quite a bit. It's pretty good. It's not a terrible deck, but it could be better. Hopefully there will be some sweet stuff for Shaela in the future. I'm really looking forward to that. If there is, and if it's like significant, then I will definitely make another video like updating this deck, because I like this deck quite a bit. The next video I will be doing is probably Keurig. I think I'm going to be doing Keurig next, and that's going to be similar to this. It's going to be a mono red Keurig deck, like showing you stuff that you can use to upgrade the starting deck. So yeah, guys, hope you liked the video. Maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe if you have not, comment, all the good shit, and yeah, I will see you guys later. Have a good one all, and I'll see you then.